Mike's volunteering. On today's episode, Patriots versus Giants in Super Bowl XLVI.
Procter & Gamble fires 1,600 marketers.
LinkedIn is 277% more effective at lead gen than Twitter and Facebook.
And we'll talk about hashtags gone wrong.
For the third week in a row. Also, Inc. 500 companies are blogging less. All on today's episode. Stay tuned for that and more. February 3rd, 2012, and we're coming to you live from Cambridge, Massachusetts. I'm Karen Rubin.
I'm Mike Volpe. Great to be here this week. The hashtag is MKTGUP.
Yeah, marketing up.
Incorporate
Sounds
it
good.
into your tweets. You might be invited to participate on the show through your tweet.
All the old shows are in iTunes. Go there, check them out, leave us 5-star reviews. And you're all welcome to come by the show. Small audience today. I expect it's because people are out prepping for the Super Bowl.
I think so. Big weekend.
Big weekend.
Yep.
Or the more will probably trickle in as we get going. But you're all welcome to come anytime you want. We have free beer and a good time.
Well, not any time. It's at 4 o'clock
Right,
on
it's at 4
Fridays.
o'clock on Fridays. But any Friday at 4 p.m.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. And next
It's a
week,
good thing you're here to keep
we
me
have
in
a
line.
special host.
We do have a
Right?
special host. We have two special hosts.
We won't be on the show.
We are not on the show next week.
We did a charity auction for someone to bid to raise money for charity here
Yes.
at HubSpot. And
this was the leading bid.
Yes.
Like, of all the things, and HubSpotters put good stuff up. There's like brownies and dinners out and all this stuff, but nothing made as much money as the HubSpot TV co-hosting. It went for like $365.
Yep.
And our very own Michael Mintz and Amanda Iglesias are going to be co-hosting the show.
Yes.
So it'll be exciting.
Yep.
They're looking forward to talking about all sorts of Super Bowl related things because did we mention this week's the Super Bowl? We're a little bit invested in it this year.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yep.
So diving into our headlines, Patriots versus the Giants, Super Bowl 46, or which is XLVI, if you're interested. If you're in your Roman numerals.
I
asked Mike
Roman numerologist.
As we're coming up with the show notes yesterday, I'm asking Mike, what's the Roman numeral for this year? And we look it up online to figure out what 46 is in Roman numeral. And then he legitimately spent 8 minutes figuring out why it was that and how the Roman numerals worked. And nerd alert.
Because there's the whole, like, to the left is subtraction and to the right is addition, right?
Oh, it's so interesting.
So I was trying to take 50 and subtract 4. But the problem is 4, you need to subtract 1 from 5. So it would be like IVL.
Like I said.
But like they don't do the subtraction thing in Roman numerals, which is why you have to start with taking away 10 from 50 and then adding 6 more.
In any case.
It actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it.
Oh my God. You're such a dork. In any case, so big Super Bowl game this weekend. Well, first let's talk about the marketing side of it. The Super Bowl's big every year. We talk about this every year. Big commercials, lots of money wasted.
$3.5 million for a 30-second spot.
For a 30-second spot. It's unbelievable. Brian Whaley was trying to convince me that they're more expensive because there are fewer people interested in advertising, and they need to make more money in each 30-second spot. I told him I wasn't sure that's how it worked. Don't they get more expensive because there's more demand for the 30-second spots? But
I also do think that what's interesting about this is one of the few places where, yes, the game is an important part of the content, but the advertisements, because they're so expensive, they've become a thing of themselves, a thing on their own. And so in some ways, the ads in the Super Bowl have actually become a piece of content that people want to consume. In fact, there are some people that even watch the game just to see the ads.
Right.
And so it's almost like people are paying more because the advertisements are featured as a piece of content in many ways.
We have a new rule in our house that we no longer go to big Super Bowl parties. We'll watch with a couple of friends, but the problem with Super Bowl parties is you don't get to watch the football because people are talking too much, and you don't get to watch the commercials because people are talking too much. So everything you like watching about the Super Bowl is just moot. If I want to go to a party and talk to people, I'll go to a party and talk to people, but I want to watch the Super Bowl. So anyway, but Uberview,
yeah. They did some analysis, and
they decided to use a whole bunch of social media metrics to determine who's going to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So they looked at things like
number of tweets, the
mentions, those kinds
the
of things.
sentiment around those tweets, both for the two teams and the two quarterbacks.
Right.
The teams were roughly equal in their opinion. Quarterbacks, Brady had
kicks
big advantage.
Butt, which, I mean, come on, seriously? Was anybody surprised that Brady beats Eli Manning's butt all over the field? He has a much nicer ass. I'm sorry. So in any case, Brady beats Manning. The team's a tie. They acknowledge that the game is going to be really close. But you did some Super Bowl predictions back in 2008,
well,
didn't
so
you?
the interesting part about this is like they do all this, and obviously it's a little tongue-in-cheek. Like you actually don't expect, like, you know,
you don't think social media determines the
prowess
outcome
to have anything to do with like the actual outcome of the game.
Oh, good. I'm glad you understand that.
But I did something. Well, I learned my lesson because the last time the Pats played the Giants in the Super Bowl back in 2008, I did something similar, and I used data from Website Grader comparing the two teams' websites and the number of inbound links and other social data and things like that, and actually predicted that the Patriots would win.
Ah.
And that didn't work out.
So what's your prediction?
And so I had to publish, that was on like Thursday or Friday, and then I published a post on Monday, like being like, oh, sorry.
What's your prediction this year?
So unrelated to any marketing data or things like that, obviously we're Pats fans. I think the Pats will pull it up, but I do think, which is really good for all fans, is that I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah. It always stinks when the Super Bowl is not exciting.
Yeah.
Like
it's just sort of like a blowout, and you're sort of like, whatever.
Right, but this is going to be a good game, but it's all Patriots all the way. Welker, Gronkowski, Brady, how can it not be them?
Well, we'll see. I don't know. It's funny because everyone's like, oh, is Gronkowski going to play and everything, and I saw a clip today of him walking on the field, and then everyone's like, oh, like he looks good.
Everyone's trying to analyze it. Who knows?
It looked like he still had somewhat of like a, not a pronounced, but like there was a little limp there, and he wasn't doing like.
But he's like a machine, honestly. Like if the parts aren't all working, it's going to be like Kurt Schilling in the 2004 World Series, where they'll go in and they'll screw some stuff in place, and then he'll go out there and he'll have like a bloody sock, but he'll still be amazing.
Although Schilling actually tweeted that if it truly is a high ankle sprain, and Schilling said if that's true, then Gronkowski's actually in worse shape than he was during the World Series.
All right,
which is true.
But Gronkowski's also 23, and Schilling was like
40 or something.
40 at that point, so
it's true.
Like the recuperative powers of a 23-year-old are just amazing.
It's true, but Gronkowski's also like running into people that are like 280 pounds, and like there's a lot more. Like, he's got a lot more mass on that ankle, and I don't know.
I hope Gronkowski understands the pressure on him to perform like Kurt Schilling did in 2004.
I think he's a motivated guy.
So what's the marketing takeaway
about? The marketing takeaway here is be careful with data because you can make it say anything if you're not thoughtful about it.
You can.
You don't think about it. So use your brain with your data.
Use your brain. And if you want to spend a lot of time thinking about Roman numerals, that's cool too. So P&G fires 1,600 in...
What?
I don't know why that was funny. I must have missed something because
just read the headline.
P&G fires 1,600 in marketing.
Yes. So P&G, this is really interesting because
this is super interesting.
Procter & Gamble, as we've covered a bunch of this, has had some success with inbound marketing.
A little bit.
The Old Spice campaign, doing things with video, things online, whatever, like lots of things have been more inbound, where they've traditionally come from doing a lot more TV, broadcast, things like
During
that.
soap operas is apparently their winning
that
slot.
was why they were called soap operas, was because there was advertisements for soap.
I get it. I didn't realize that.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't know.
That's like a classic marketing thing.
I didn't study marketing, remember?
Well, yeah. So in any event, now that we've all learned that fun fact, so what's interesting is they came out and actually the CEO said his company, Procter & Gamble, finds that the return on marketing investment can be much more efficient through mediums like Facebook and Google. One example is our Old Spice campaign, where we had 1.8 billion free impressions, and there are many other examples I can cite from all over the world. So this is basically them embracing inbound marketing and trying to change the allocation of their investments and laying off 1,600 marketers, right? On the surface, that's how they're selling it.
Well, no, they're selling it that they're firing 1,600 non-manufacturing jobs.
Right, which at a company like P&G basically means marketing.
So what's your theory? Like, what you read something about the package that they're giving these 1,600
people. Yeah, so what's interesting
people.
is they're not actually firing 1,600 people. They are reducing the staff of 1,600 through early retirement packages.
So they're pushing out all the old people.
Right, which is interesting because when you think about it too, if you told me like, hey, you're going to take a huge company like P&G, and they're going to refocus their strategy and do more inbound marketing and less TV ads, I would say that's interesting. If I'm the CMO of that company, I take all the money that I used to spend on Super Bowl ads, and I use that to hire people that are going to create content.
Right.
And so I need more people.
Not
and
less.
I have less media spend. But here they're saying they're going to have less people because they're going to do more inbound, which doesn't make sense to me. So
they're going to continue. It also says they're going to continue to spend 9 to 11% of their sales budget on advertising, but the allocation of the money may change considerably now that they've discovered how wildly successful the right viral ad can be.
Yeah. So I think what subtly could be happening here.
Tell us, Mike.
And like some lawyer is going to do like a class action lawsuit against Procter & Gamble based on this statement. And you owe it all to me, so I want like 10% of like the net like proceeds from that thing you're going to win. Which is that I actually think what's happening is they're realizing that they may need more people to do more of the inbound, because typically you spend less on media, you do more with people. But I think they feel like they have the wrong people.
Yeah.
And they can't come out and say we're going to offer early retirement because we want to get rid of all the old people that don't speak digital in our company, because that's illegal to do. So I think what they're saying is, oh, we're realigning marketing priorities, blah, 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 and we're going to do early retirement packages and things like that. So I actually think what they're trying to do is actually hire, I would say, more marketing staff that are, could be younger or certainly digital citizens, right? And we've talked about digital native versus digital citizen, whatever. But I think they're trying to get rid of a lot of the people at Procter & Gamble that don't speak digital fluently.
Sounds reasonable to me. I mean, it doesn't sound reasonable
what they're doing
that they're firing old people, but it sounds like a reasonable view. Your analysis sounds reasonable.
We're getting a slow clap from Willie. That was close, but I missed.
Willie's awfully fresh.
Yeah, he is. All right,
so the marketing takeaway here
is embrace inbound marketing for job security.
You're walking all over me today.
You always tell me I'm not energetic enough on the shows.
No, you're energetic
and you always
today.
Say, and what's the marketing takeaway, Mike?
You're just like interrupting me left and right.
And now you know how it feels.
All right, next story from our very own Rep Corps, who I've given her a shout out and she's not in the audience. All right, I take that back. In any case, LinkedIn's 277% more effective at lead gen than Twitter and Facebook. Basically, Rep Corps, I'm assuming some other people helped her, but I don't know. She took a look at some of the data we had of over 5,000 businesses. Oh no, Rep Corps did this. She and I worked together on it. I remember doing this with her. It was good stuff. And she found... Took a look at data from over 5,000 businesses and found that traffic from LinkedIn generates the highest visitor lead conversion rate at 2.74%, which is almost 3 times higher than Twitter and Facebook.
I think we've always talked about there's a different quality of traffic and different types of audiences on a lot of these different networks, and you should use them all differently. And in terms of actually finding for many companies a good, rich, high-quality source of traffic and leads, LinkedIn obviously steals the show there, which makes sense.
That's huge, 277% more. I mean, this isn't like, we're not talking small beans here. This is like big money.
Yeah.
So then, all right, if somebody's on LinkedIn but they're not seeing this kind of return, what are the things that they should do?
Well, there's a bunch of things that the article suggests, Karen.
There are.
Thank you for incorporating me into the show. Invest time and effort to grow that specific channel, so you don't expect like overnight, like, hey, why aren't we getting anything from LinkedIn? Well, you're not doing anything on LinkedIn, right? So it's fine.
If you're not engaging here, it's not going to work.
Post more of the targeted content that's working. So look at what content is working on the different networks. I know that we find that, first of all, self-referential content always works. So articles about LinkedIn do well on LinkedIn. Articles about Twitter do well on Twitter. And guess what about articles on Facebook?
They do well on Facebook.
There you go. But there's other types of content that I think we've seen through our data and our analysis that do better on different networks. So post more of the content that will do better on that network. What else?
You also want to find opportunities to include relevant CTAs.
Yes.
So if you don't have calls to action that are encouraging people to actually become leads, you're not going to get a lot of leads from a particular source.
Yeah.
And so you want that they need to be relevant. If you're just putting out there like, sign up for a demo for my product, sign up for a demo for my product, you're not going to get a lot of leads from that. But if you give them really interesting information, ebooks that are interesting and relevant to them, then you'll start to get more of the leads.
Yeah. And one of the things that we do using the HubSpot software is we have a call to action module, and we use that at the bottom of all of our blog articles. And you can actually automatically rotate and optimize different calls to action there. So you can actually be testing 3, 4, 5 of them at the bottom of the article, and then you don't need to worry about, well, do I pick the right one? It's like pick 2 or 3, put them in there, and it'll rotate them and give you the results.
And then lastly, don't take success for granted. You've got to keep learning. These different things, they're growing really fast and changing. So look at other companies that are having success and see what they're doing, and then incorporate that and try different things and test it and measure and test and measure.
There you go.
It's all very fun.
So what's the marketing takeaway, Karen?
You got to use different social networks differently depending on the fit for your customer.
Yeah. So we have something coming in on Twitter. Apparently, for those of you watching the stream, or I guess it actually also affects the recording, so the shaking on the camera, Dunster says, sorry about the shaking on the camera a minute ago. I reached for my beer and hit the camera.
Somebody
So
should
there
be
you go.
asking how many beers Dunn's drinking if he can't stay clear to the camera.
Seriously. Although I guess on a percentage basis, like he's always right there,
Yes.
which we appreciate his
That's
support.
true. This is the
one
first time.
out of hundreds of episodes.
It's true.
So, yeah. All right.
Excellent. Beer
So
switch
much better,
sides.
much better. All right.
Next story.
Hashtags gone wrong.
This is the third week in a row we've
Yeah.
talked about hashtags gone wrong.
Clearly, these companies need to start paying attention to us.
They should start watching HubSpot TV.
Yeah,
This is
and
easy.
actually, well, we'll get to that in a minute, but we'll talk about it in a second. But
Market
you have a
update.
service that you want to offer the companies that
I
are
do.
about to buy
I
a
do. We'll talk
sponsored
about that in a
hashtag.
minute.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
The story this week, cautionary tale this week is RIM,
Yes.
makers of BlackBerry, not only launched a hashtag, but they launched a squad of cartoon characters. That's the Bold team that's supposed to help sell more Blackberries.
don't
They
know.
include Go-Go Girl, the Achiever, Justin Steele, the Advocate, Trudy For Real, the Authentic, and Max Stone, the Adventurer. And they all have their own little taglines, and they launched with this hashtag, the hashtag Be Bold. It
Because
hasn't
when I
gone
think
so well.
BlackBerry users, I think people that
Cartoons.
love cartoons.
In spandex.
Right.
Well,
Yep.
somebody brought that up.
And hashtags.
And one of the tweets was, and by the way, I've never seen a BlackBerry user who would actually look good in spandex. Hashtag Be Bold.
Yep. You are boldly running your company into the ground. Hashtag Be Bold.
At BlackBerry, are you trying to stay in the smartphone industry or switching to Cartoon Network? WTF is with the hashtag Be Bold characters. Are you serious?
Yes. And then Jesus, those Be Bold cartoon caricatures are terra bad. Are you trying to market BlackBerry to 9-year-olds?
It's tough. It's a tough world out there.
It is. And there were lots of other things about the whole Be Bold thing.
So then
like
the next
people
one,
were like, just
which our
bad
very
things.
own Mike Volpe found on his own, was
yeah.
Subway's newest hashtag. Hashtag $5 footlong. We can't see that going wrong, can we?
Right. I mean, it is a big tagline in their campaign, and like it's a major thing that they're pushing. But like, I'm in Twitter, and I look over, and I see like the top hashtag is the promoted one with the little orange promoted thing next to it. I read it, I'm like, $5 footlongs. I'm like, well, that's Subway, but I know where Twitter is going to take this hashtag.
I
right?
mean, you see it for an instant, and you guys all laughed because you got it. So
Right.
hashtag $5 footlongs is trending. My wife said she thought it was an advertisement for cheap but effective male prostitute service.
Yep. And then Snooki isn't pregnant. She just heard about the $5 footlongs.
February is the month of love. You know what that means. Hashtag $5 footlong.
Yep. Another one. It's too bad $5 footlongs aren't referring to blunts.
So this is where I want to offer my services.
Yes.
If you are a company, okay, not like that.
Yeah.
They just all got really dirty. If you're a company and you're thinking about launching a hashtag, send it to me and I'll let you know all of the ways which it can be construed dirtily.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
And we can talk about this and see if it's a good idea for your
And
business.
see if you're comfortable or not. Those are important
honestly,
things.
I do not believe that there is a single individual at Subway who did not think the hashtag $5 footlong was going to go in this direction and didn't decide that they were okay with it.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, I think it's one of those where just to a certain degree, like, you just need to
It's
embrace
true, though. I sang for a good 2.5 hours yesterday afternoon after we talked about this, the $5, the $5,
the jingle.
$5 foot long. It gets in your head. It's catchy. Anyway, so the marketing, there were two marketing takeaways here, weren't
Well, there was
there?
one for the first part,
Yep.
which was for BlackBerry, which is know your customers.
Very
and we feel like
important.
there's kind of a misalignment between what they wanted their customers to be like, but what their customers are actually like.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was this hashtag for? The marketing takeaway for
$5
Subway?
footlongs is just beware of trolls and wannabe comedians.
Yep, and just be prepared for it. And I think if they were cool with it and expected it in advance, they're like, hey, that's fine.
That's
Because I'm
good.
sure there was a lot of the right conversation around that
Right.
one as well. So yeah, Rice EK. So thank you for watching. Still, long-time viewer.
Rice EK's been here since the
says
beginning.
It's a Karen Rubin smackdown today on marketing up.
All right, next story. The Inc. 500 companies are blogging less. This is a story, study done by the University of Massachusetts at Dartmouth.
Yes.
Basically said that there's been a huge drop in the number of companies maintaining active corporate blogs over the past year of the Inc. 500 companies.
Yep.
When they interview these companies, this is based on actual conversations.
Yep.
And they said 37% of those interviewed had a corporate blog last year, down from half the previous year.
Yep.
So
Now they
50%
only
to
interviewed like
37.
137 out of the 500, which is interesting.
Oh, that
So
is
it's not-
interesting.
They didn't have an intern go to all 500 websites and try to find a blog.
And see if there was one.
Or use like an automated tool that finds your company's blog, like Marketing Grader, right? They just call them up and they're like, do you have a blog? So
They did say, though, that 3/4 of the companies use LinkedIn and Facebook.
Yep.
90% of the responding executives reported that social media tools are important for brand awareness and company reputation, and that 88% see the tools as important for generating web traffic, while 81% of them found it important for lead generation. So that's all interesting. I do have to say, like, their takeaway was that the use of blogging's peaked as a primary social media tool in the U.S. business world, and it's declining. Now people aren't using blogs anymore, and I'm not sure. Do you agree with that?
I hope that everyone in the entire world agrees with that, because that will make my blog even more successful.
The fact of the matter is, I think the marketing takeaway from me here, all right, nice, you agree, is that, I have to make sure, whether or not blogging is popular among the Inc. 500 doesn't matter so much for you as a small, medium business owner. You need to be creating content. That's the key to inbound marketing success, and blogging is a really easy and effective way to do it.
And it's not about what's popular, it's about what's effective.
Yep.
Right? And so to me, I think all the data points to, like, blogging works. And it doesn't matter if everyone else is doing it, it just matters if you're doing it.
Yeah. If everybody else wanted to jump off a bridge, would you?
Thanks, Mom.
All right, so do what works, not what's popular.
There you go. All right. Marketing tip of the week
What is it, Volpe? Bring it home.
Watch the Super Bowl ads. And I think what's interesting about the Super Bowl ads is they usually have a unique quality to them, which is that pick your favorite 3. And then the unique thing about Super Bowl ads is usually they're very, they usually have a big emotional grab to them.
Yep.
They're usually less about like a straightforward pitch, because they're spending so much money, they really want to make sure that they work effectively. So distill the emotion or feeling in your 3 favorite Super Bowl ads, and think about some way that you at your company could try to instill that same emotion or feeling into your potential customers as well. And it doesn't need to be through a Super Bowl ad, it can be through a blog article or through a presentation or a video or something like that. But that emotional grip behind the Super Bowl ads, I think, is a lot of the core of why many of the ads are viewed as so great.
Do you remember the ad last year for Volkswagen where the little kid's dressed as Darth Vader and he's got his lightsaber and he's going around trying to, like...
Well, it's not the lightsaber, he's trying to just do the Force.
The Force, he's trying to do the Force, and he keeps trying to do the Force.
And he does it to the car.
He does it to the car, and the car turns on.
And the dad has the remote control,
It was so cute. Apparently,
so
Volkswagen...
that emotion right there, that's cute. And what can you do for your company that would evoke that same type of response?
That's the way you gotta go.
That's the marketing takeaway.
So what are you doing this weekend besides watching the Super Bowl?
Oh, that's...
Okay, what are you doing for the Super Bowl, Mike?
I'm actually probably just going to watch it just like, I mean, so you have a kid and like the Super Bowl's late and it's like you put the kid to bed, so like you can't go someplace else and then come back.
True.
And like, it's just a little harder. Plus, like, it's like comfortable. It's my couch. It's my TV. Like, my remote, I can watch as loud or as quiet as I want. I can do whatever
Will Liz
I want.
watch with you?
I can also pause it and go get a snack if I want to get a snack.
Sure.
If I want to do that, like, it's like you do
Will
whatever you
Liz
want,
watch it with you? Does she get into it?
Yeah, she would be. I mean, she's from Pittsburgh, so she's more into it when like the Steelers are playing.
Yeah.
So she'll watch some of it, and then she'll probably like do something else. Yeah.
So actually, I have 2 things that I'm doing this weekend. I'm watching the Super Bowl, obviously, having some friends over. I'm going to make some homemade pulled pork. Pretty excited about it. But then, I don't know if you saw this thing. It was on the Colbert Show yesterday. There's a new Facebook page up titled something along the lines of, "Put bread on your cat so people think you have a walking sandwich." And essentially what people are doing is taking slices of bread and cutting out a circle and sticking it over the cat's head like this. And it's all these pictures of pissed off cats. So I'm going to work on getting a picture of my cat with a slice of bread so people will think I have a walking sandwich. I'm telling you, life without kids is exciting, Mike.
Sounds awesome.
I know. It's good stuff. It is good stuff. And I'm also going bowling with my 3-year-old nephew, which should be entertaining. I think that means we get to have the bumpers in the lanes, which is going to be awesome.
And regular bowling or candlepin?
Candlepin.
Yeah, I was going to say, because 3-year-olds, the
little ball. Them, something that only exists here in New England. So if you don't know what we're talking about, don't worry about it. Anyway, folks, have a great weekend. Go Pats!